advisory, and even in the last hour, hasn't changed. The winds are still at, now you see, they're saying north-northwest, so the Hurricane Center is indicating, they're being very optimistic by saying 10 miles an hour, but they are all noting that more northerly track in the storm's direction over the last couple of hours, but the winds remain the same at 130 miles an hour, and I cannot remember the pressure at the last 4 o'clock advisory, but it certainly hasn't changed all that much. Now again, it is still very close to having been just over the more marshier areas of Terrebonne and Lafourche, so it has really just started to interact, the center of the storm, with land, and I'm talking more substantial land.
Yeah. That does
It was the same? Okay, so the pressure was the same. So it really has not changed in the last hour. And again, with it remaining so close to the Gulf waters and to the marshes of Terrebonne and Lafourche, you know, this isn't the scenario we want to see. Hopefully in the next couple of hours we'll begin to see a little bit of a motion to the north a bit, but in the short term this is certainly not what we wanted to see.
2 quick things.
Yes.
So it looks to me like it is definitely to the east of where we thought it was going to be, the eye wall in particular.
Looks like quite a bit, yeah, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, which is not good for the city of New Orleans and Jefferson Parish, St. John, St. Charles. That means they'll get a greater impact, right?
Yes, very much so. And again, it may not be that we find the strongest of those winds, the 90 to 100 miles per hour in the city proper, but certainly in the metro area in Jefferson Parish, that is going to put those folks a little bit closer. And notice, I'm going to pan a little bit south.
I want to mention something really quickly.
Yes.
I just saw, we were just talking about these rain totals. Plaquemines Parish government has just posted that the levee is overtopping at White Ditch. And they are warning people, if you live in that area between the parish line and White Ditch on the east bank, you need to seek higher ground immediately because the levee has been overtopped. So if you are in that area, it is wise to get out now.
You know,
I think that's probably storm surge that's causing that, not necessarily the
That's a good point.
the
Yeah,
rainfall.
yeah, yeah.
But
Right,
that was
Either
my next
way, it
question,
is
Chris.
Yeah.
yeah, and that's the thing.
Where's the storm surge? Is it
Here we get water coming from several different directions. We get it coming from above and we get it coming from below, and unfortunately for those areas they are still getting inundated with the surge. Now what's been interesting is I was talking about this a couple of hours ago, and I was looking at some of the tide gauges for along the Louisiana coastline, and most of them were not really indicating a significant surge. And I keep questioning, am I reading this right? You know, at earlier reports in, let's see, this is in Grand Isle, the surge had gotten up to about 5 feet. And then in Port Fourchon, it had gotten up to about 3 feet. That doesn't seem right to me. I'm looking at the stations that are maintained by NOAA, and it just doesn't seem right to me. But again, that's just, sometimes we have to take the information and then try and decipher it a little bit. We'll also see that you know, the center of the storm has not really moved a great deal, and note that the track has been a little bit more to the east of Baton Rouge as well. Might need to be tilted a little bit more, because if this trend does continue, and hopefully it is a trend that does indeed continue, it's more like the storm is moving more due north, so that would put it more toward Tangier Parish, Hammond, Ponchatoula, and then points north from there, because it does not really look as though it's heading toward Baton Rouge. It looks like it's moving more north, and that just keeps some of this more intense rain and the higher likelihood, more of a, I would say, certainty that we'll see the strongest of the winds moving into the city of New Orleans. Now again, the winds have been diminishing, albeit slightly, and you will not find 130 mile per hour winds all across the eye wall. It's just not how it works. But you are going to find 100 and 110 mile per hour winds across the area. And we did see a change in that extreme wind warning to now continue and really more isolated right around where the storm is making landfall or moving inland at this point, and then on the eastern side of the storm. And so that does include almost kind of much of Jefferson Parish. At the moment, that extreme wind warning does not include the city of New Orleans, but this is where winds gusting up to over 115 miles an hour are expected, and that likelihood across parts of Jefferson Parish is looking greater at this time, unfortunately.
Now, isn't there a lag time in when that surge actually hits, though? I mean, I remember from Hurricane Katrina, I know that we don't want to compare the storms, but
Right.
just it kind of taught me, and unfortunately, the whole metropolitan area about storm surge, and you know, there was a significant lag time. So the storm moved through, everybody thought everything was fine, and that's when the levees started to break because they couldn't take the water. So is there a chance that it's just not there yet?
And it might be the preliminary numbers are just kind of coming in, and they are on the low side, but they will kind of surge up as well. But usually it's kind of as the storm is moving in, that's where you get that wall of water, that dramatic rise in water levels coming in. So it's just to me, it's kind of confusing. I'm trying to decipher this, live on television as I'm looking at the numbers as to why they weren't a bit higher along our coast. And certainly some of the video we've seen seems to be a bit higher than what the readings are saying.